even though it was so inexpensive, I would not pay that money again to cruise with that cruise line. Welcome back, travel fans. It's me, Morgan, from the very unofficial travel guides. If you didn't know that, now you know. Your life is different now. If you know what popular YouTuber always says that, write it in the comments below. I'm back here in front of the red couch for another story time, and I wanted to let you know that I'm gonna try to do a story time every Sunday night. I just decided, and I hope that that's something that you're interested in. Some people were making comments about that my channel has lost structure, that it's frustrating because you see like 1 or 2 videos from the Harmony of the Seas cruise, and then the next video is a Disney video, and it feels like everything's just sort of a mishmash. And you know, I have to say, I totally understand why you get that feeling, because it is. And there's a reason for that, and it's because when I'm traveling, I don't have the time, or I guess I should say I don't take the time to edit a video every day and upload it every day. I know a lot of other travel vloggers do that, like my friends over at Sea Cruisers. Hey ladies, they upload a video every day, and it's because they have the time and they take the time to edit a video every day. But some of these long travel vlogs, if you do it the way I do it, it takes sometimes like 2 or 3 hours. And so when I'm traveling, when I'm at Disney, or when I'm on a cruise, or when I'm in Chicago or wherever, I'd rather just enjoy the time that I have there with the people I'm traveling with, and not like every night be like, okay, you guys go out to the bar, or you guys go out to eat and have fun. I'm gonna sit down and edit a video. And I hope you understand. And that is the reason why things are not, or haven't been chronological on my channel, and why some of the things are a little bit, I don't know, messed up as far as the order goes. But if you look in the playlists that I've created, any playlist that's like dedicated to a certain trip, that will all be in the order. So there's that. Anyways, let's continue with the story time. I wanted to tell you about the worst cruise I've ever been on. And to say it's the worst cruise I've been on is kind of unfair, because it wasn't horrible, nothing bad happened. I know that there have been way worse cruises than this cruise, but I wanted to tell you about it anyways, and just compared to the other cruises I've been on, the worst cruise that I've been on, hands down, was on the MSC Magnifica. People write to me all the time to ask me what other cruise lines I've cruised with, and I can tell you I have cruised with Royal Caribbean, I've cruised with Norwegian Cruise Lines, I've cruised with AIDA, which is the German branch of Carnival, but it's not really like the Carnival that you know, it's quite different, and I've cruised with MSC. Is there one I'm forgetting? No. Those are the cruise lines that I have cruised with to date, and MSC was definitely, compared to the other cruise lines that I've been on, the worst. That's not saying it was horrible, nothing bad happened. Like I said, it just wasn't as good as the others, and I'll tell you why. First of all, the good thing about being on the MSC Magnifica was it was very inexpensive, so that is a plus. And of course, if you go by the phrase, you get what you pay for, I still don't think that I got what I paid for, to tell you the truth, but it was very inexpensive. It was a 3-night, really short cruise. No, I think it was a 4-night. It was a 4-night cruise. It left Hamburg here, and then we had, I think, 1 sea day, and then we were supposed to dock on the German island of Helgoland. If you didn't know that, Germany has islands. Look it up. So, we were supposed to dock in Helgoland, but the weather was so bad that we couldn't. There were 2 ports that we were visiting, Helgoland and Amsterdam. And of those 2 ports, we only visited 1, Amsterdam. That's nothing the cruise line can do anything about, and that definitely doesn't weigh into my saying that it was the worst cruise that I have been on, because I think that's unfair to MSC. They had nothing to do with it. We did stop in Amsterdam. I made a popular video about Amsterdam called Guide to Drugs and Hookers in Amsterdam. It's linked below. If I didn't link it below, or if I mention any videos here and say they're linked below and they're not linked below, somebody please write to me and remind me to link them below, because it's something that I forget. Speaking of forgetting, I also wanted to mention that I made a ship tour of the MSC Magnifica. That is also linked below. All right, moving on. The ship. The design of the ship was beautiful. It was the interior design, the colors, the open spaces, the public spaces. It was all very beautiful. It was like if you're somebody who takes lots of like selfies and pictures of yourself and your friends for Instagram, thousands of fantastic looking backgrounds on the MSC Magnifica, and I'm assuming on all MSC ships. It's an Italian company, and there's really nice, classy Italian design. And it's not like the pictures I've seen of the new Carnival ships where it's like wannabe classy. Like, it really is nice design. The cabin also was very nice, very modern, very clean, and I was talking with Marcus about it as well before I sat down to make this video, and he was saying that he doesn't remember having any problems with the cabin or the cabin steward. That was all fantastic. All right, coming to the bad points, and there are three of them. The entertainment and the fun stuff, the food, and the service otherwise. The entertainment. Marcus and I like to go to the shows. We like to go see the musicals or the live shows, like especially, I think the best entertainment I've ever had on a ship was on the Norwegian Epic, where we had Blue Man Group and Legends in Concert and dueling pianos and the improv comedy troupe. I'm sorry, I can't remember what the real name was for the troupe, but that was the best entertainment package that we have had on a cruise. The shows and the entertainment stuff happening on board the MSC was just not very good. And I'm sorry if any of the people watching this were working as entertainers on the MSC Magnifica when I was on it, but compared to the other cruises I've been on, especially AIDA, the shows were just not very good. And the other entertainment stuff, like quiz or bingo or just the silly stuff like belly flop contest or a newlywed game or whatever, it was non-existent. It wasn't there. There was nothing happening. So even though we were only on the ship for like 4 days, we were bored because there was just nothing happening. There was a small bowling alley, which was, I think, the first time I had seen bowling lanes on a cruise ship before we were on the Epic, but it cost extra, and it cost, I don't remember how much extra it cost, but it definitely wasn't something that we were willing to pay for. They also had a very small, like a motion simulator. I think, if I remember right, it maybe even was like a small theater with like motion simulator seats, and that also cost extra, and we decided not gonna do it. So mostly what we did on the ship was, I think we sat in the indoor pool area and read books, and it just wasn't fun. Not saying it was like awful, like I keep saying, nothing bad happened, but if I compare it to what it's like to be on the other big cruise lines, they're so much better. Let's get to the food. It's an Italian cruise ship, so a lot of the food was sort of Italian flair, like lots of pasta, lots of pizza, bread and cheese and things like that, and it just was really nothing special. Also, the amount of food available was, Marcus and I were talking about this, was not really enough. And because it was so little, people kind of like fought for it. So when the buffet would open, people would run in and people would like fill up an entire plate with French fries and then bring it to their table so that all their friends could get French fries, because by the time the lunchtime in the buffet was over, certain things would have run out. And I guess on the one hand, that's less wasteful than I guess the way that it's done on other cruise lines. But on the other hand, I don't want to go on a cruise and feel like if I'm not one of the first people into the buffet at lunch that I might not get to eat, or I might, there might only be like a couple leaves of salad left and a roll or something like that. And that's what it was like, and it just was not a fun vacation atmosphere. We did eat in the main dining room, and the design and the look of the main dining room was very nice. There were a lot of like intimate corners. It didn't feel so like vast and spread out like on some of the Royal Caribbean ships. But the food was just boring. It just was bland and boring. And yeah, like I said, that doesn't mean that it was like a catastrophe, but the food on the other cruise lines is just so much better. Now, coming to the service. This is sort of a tricky subject because sometimes I think the overly helpful and the overly eager servers on the big, like the big two lines that I've been on, I keep mentioning them, Royal Caribbean and Norwegian. Sometimes I feel like it's almost too much. Like when you go into one of the bars, like if you're gonna go watch karaoke or you're gonna I don't know, you just go sit down at one of the bars. If you're not like on the bar, if you're sitting at one of the tables, like 2 seconds after you sit down, there is going to be a server standing next to you asking what you want to drink. And of course that's good. And the thing that I find somewhat bothersome about it is I feel like in the bars, and then especially in the main dining room, I feel like they come back so often, and it's hard to like get into a real conversation with the people you're with because you're constantly being interrupted to say, no, I'm fine, or yes, go ahead and fill up my ice water again. And so it's kind of like a toss-up. However, on the MSC, the service was like non-existent. Marcus and I were used to the kind of service you get on the other cruise lines, and we would go into one of the bars, sit down at one of the tables, and nobody would come. Nobody. It didn't happen once. We always had to go to the bar, and the bartenders, they always had so much to do, and they were totally disorganized. And here is the one thing I remember the most, and it sort of sums up the whole of the vacation on this ship. I ordered a martini, and the bartender that I ordered from had to ask the other bartender, what's in a martini? And that's where I thought, who are these people and how did they get this job? And does this cruise line not train them? Is nobody paying attention to the job they're doing? And it just was not fun. We didn't have, I think the thing we had the most fun about was laughing about how bad the service was and how boring the food was. This is, however, how long ago was that now? 4 or 5 years ago? And I can only assume that it was like a one-off and that the other MSC ships and the other itineraries and everything, I can only assume they're better, because if they're not, I don't understand how this company is still in business. Because even though it was so inexpensive, I would not pay that money again to cruise with that cruise line. Sorry, MSC. But it shows how important first impressions are, and it shows that even if it's like a short cruise with only a couple stops, that that can make or break the relationship with your customers. Because the very first cruise I ever did with Royal Caribbean on the Monarch was also a very short itinerary on a small ship like the MSC Magnifica, and look what happened. We've cruised on Royal now 6 or 7 times. So I guess MSC, they just kind of blew it with me. If you've ever cruised with MSC and you had a good time, let me know what it was like. And if you had a bad time, also let me know what it was like. If you like these kind of videos, please let me know about that. Oh, we just ate and I feel something in my teeth. I'm sorry. If I had something in my teeth the whole time, oops. I know I've been mentioning this a lot. I know I've been mentioning this a lot lately, but if you want to give me like a little tip, like you do when you go out to eat, or like you do your stateroom attendant, you can do that. Go to patreon.com/veryunofficial and you can get all the details. And I would also be happy if you would follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and check back soon. Sometime during the week this week I will be posting the next video from my trip on the Freedom of the Seas, so that will be in chronological order. The next video is going to be the mountain coaster that we did on Labadee, which was also fun. If you haven't seen the video of the the zip line on Labadee. That was amazing. Also linked in the description below. And I guess I've talked enough. So, like I said, Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I will see you next Sunday night for the next story time. And I have no idea what it's going to be about yet. So write that in the comments below too. Bye!